welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. I hope everyone has had a great start to the new month. I'm sending you all love and high vibrations. Today is officially the Lunar New Year, Year of the Tiger. I'm going to start out today's video with a Gematria decode and share how I'm interpreting this week. This month of February is packed full of important dates, so it's going to be fun for all the decoders out there. Also, I'll be going over the charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, so stick around until the end of the video for the technical analysis. I'll be sharing some price targets to keep an eye on for this week. And also, just a reminder, the new month has started on Patreon. If you've been patiently waiting to join, I appreciate all of your support. You can become a patron by visiting patreon.com/watersabove to sign up for the Mastermind Community membership, and you'll get instant access to my exclusive Patreon posts, all of my weekly Red Pill episodes, which are my technical analysis podcasts. I do a podcast every single week for the Mastermind Community. We go over altcoins and just a general wrap-up of the market. We have done 44 podcasts, so this upcoming weekend will be the 45th. You'll get access to all of those podcasts. You'll also get access to our community Discord group chat, and you'll be able to see live updates of whatever I am personally buying or selling. This market is a little bit of a corrective phase at this time, so I'll probably be utilizing the full moon of February to accumulate some more coins. Again, anyone who joins the Mastermind community on Patreon will be able to get access to see what I'm personally buying and selling, and anyone who joins will also qualify for a 20% discount on all of my courses. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria Numerology and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. The link to my website can be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below for access to the Mastermind course. Again, anyone who becomes a patron of mine will qualify for a 20% discount on both my Mastermind course and my new advanced trading course. I'll also be designing a exit strategy blueprint that I'll be adding to the Mastermind course near the end of this month before the start of March, and that will also be something that will help people to be able to figure out how to develop an exit strategy on the coins that you hold. The patrons will actually be having a vote very soon where I'll be allowing people to vote on 5 different coins that I will be designing exit strategies for thoroughly as part of that exit strategy blueprint. We'll definitely be doing Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, and then an additional 5 coins that the Mastermind community members vote on, so that'll be fun. I'll be doing comprehensive breakdowns on how I develop my exit strategy on those coins with not only technical analysis, but I'll also be including how I implement Gematria Numerology and Astrology as part of that exit strategy. So with that being said, let's take the red pill. Now, today is the official start of the Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year, Year of the Tiger, specifically the water tiger, and that will play a role in our decode. But I just wanted to bring up this date, November 10th of 2021, which was the date of the current all-time high for Bitcoin, when Bitcoin hit 69,000. And this date to today is actually 2 months and 22 days. So it's the 222 in the 222 year. So something interesting, and also it is the Hebrew year of 5,782, and 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 2 reduces down to 22. So we know these 22s are big. Now, this span of time is also 83 days, and 83 is the 23rd prime number. And again, 23 comes back to Bitcoin in Chaldean. So we know this 23 is a big number for Bitcoin. And today is the new moon in February, which is typically when we see microcycle tops. So I've been teaching everyone now for at least a year that around a new moon, 5 days before up to 5 days after, we typically see bullish energy. And then around a full moon, 5 days before or 5 days after, we typically get a bearish energy. So when I say micro cycle top, I'm talking about a short time top for Bitcoin, and this energy could last up to 5 days after. So what this is basically boiling down to is we could actually see bullish energy for Bitcoin up until around February 5th or 6th. And this is based on the average pattern. Of course, we've seen 6 days before. We've seen as far as 10 days. That's not the point. It's moreover to just give you a general window of time that we could expect prices to either be up or down. And then, of course, we need technical analysis to be able to determine those levels and exactly how the support will hold or how the resistance will come in. So this is just one of the cheat codes, using the lunar cycle as a little bit of a cheat code for understanding how this market operates on a monthly cycle. So with that being said, today is the start of the year of the Tiger. And Tiger gives us 15 in Chaldean. So we're going to be seeing this theme of 15 quite a bit, right? And the 3rd of February, if you pay attention right here, when we do the date numerology, adding up double digits, this will be 2 plus 3 plus 20 plus 22. This gives us 47. And 47 is the 15th prime number. Also, 3 is the second prime number. So one of the ways that we could perceive this date would actually be 3 as the second prime. So that would be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I know that the day before is the real 2, 2, but this is just a way we could perceive it. Again, numbers are very interesting. Once you start getting into prime and triangular and Fibonacci, etc., you start to see how these codes are manipulated so that we don't expect something to happen on something that's just plain and simple. Like when we have a date like January 11th, a 111, sure, that's kind of one of those things that we can numerologically make significant, but it's when you start getting into tarot and periodic table and all these other forms of, sciences, if you will, and start applying it to the numbers, you start to actually make sense of it all. I mean, one of the number one ways to really learn the numbers is go into Hebrew and Kabbalah and start to actually, learn the symbols, because it's all about the logos, the symbols, the symbology, which is what really teaches us what's going on here. So anyways, with that being said, 3 is the second prime number, and the reason why this date could be significant is because of that 22222 that I just brought up, and then also with that 47 being the 15th prime number, again 15 going back to Tiger and Chaldean. Also, this being the 11 date numerology. So this is standard date numerology. You're not adding the zeros, and you're doing it with single digits, and that's giving you the 11. And 11, of course, is all about new beginnings, restarting, etc. So it could also be perceived as the 2 towers. That's one other thing to consider here. The sun and the moon pillar. This is in Freemasonry. That's duality consciousness. This is kind of what this age is all about. We're in Piscean age, which is all about groupthink. This is all about the 2 pillars, okay? So anywho, with that being said, this is something to consider with this date. With the 47, this also goes back to silver, right? And silver is the moon, Luna. And this, again, is around a new moon. This energy that we're getting around this particular new moon is critical, okay? But with that being said, I'm really interested in how all these numbers are coming together. Of course, we also have the day before this being the 2-2 date. Now, this is interesting. One other quick note is today leaves 333 days left in the year. And tomorrow, the date 2-2 leaves, it'll be the 33rd day of the year. So again, 33 is all about transmutation, turning water into wine, ice into water, lead into gold. It's all about transmutation, right? Now, this is definitely an interesting connection here, that the 2-2 date lands on the 33rd day of this year. Pretty incredible how that all worked out. So another thing to say about the 2-3 date is this 23. So again, it could be perceived as 23, and that 23 again coming back to Bitcoin. Okay, and the 23 number is also showing up in Mercury, and we know that. So it's 23 in the same cipher, which is really important, most pure cipher being Chaldean. Now, this connection is important because this will be the last day of Mercury stationed in retrograde. So we have the 3rd of February in the United States. This will be the last day Mercury retrograde. And remember the connection that I was teaching you guys a couple weeks ago, Mercury retrograde giving us that 58 in Chaldean, and that 58 again coming back to XRP with the 58, and then we have this connection coming back to the 22. Tomorrow will be the 22 date, 22. Again, XRP in the full reduction, which I hold as one of the more important ciphers, giving us that 2-2, like February 2nd, right? In the 15 connection to Tiger. We're in the year of the Tiger, and that'll be the 2nd day of the Lunar New Year in the year 222. It's really important how this is all tying together. Again, we have this 23, like February 3rd, and that connection goes into the following day, which has that 47, the 15th prime. Again, all coming back to XRP, 15 Chaldean, which ties to Tiger 15. So this is telling me that these dates in this whole first week are absolutely powerful. I mean, the whole year is going to be important just because it's the 222 year, right? And it's in the year of Shemitah, the sabbatical year practiced in Judaism, which has everything to do with manipulating and controlling finances. And all of our world events that we've had are typically around Shemitah year, the 7 year in the cycle. So let's go to the 4th of February is definitely something important here from the symbolism side of things. The 2424 is the zodiac symbol for Jupiter, right? And the striped planet is the tiger. Jupiter is the striped planet, which comes back to the tiger. And if we go to Rosh Hashanah, the start of Shemitah, and we bring it to this date of February 4th, the 2-4, again, the zodiac logo of Jupiter, we have it at 150 days. Now, this 150 in the rules of numerology turns into 15 because you remove the 0. And again, that 15 coming back to Tiger. In the year of the Tiger, Tiger, striped planet, connection to Jupiter, right? And this date is also 330 days left in the year, and that would be the 33 again in the rules of numerology. This 33 connection is important because this comes back to the water tiger. Water tiger giving you 33. Again, all about transmutation. And tomorrow, again, being the 33rd day of this current year. So then the next important date, this one could be a big change, actually. The 6th of February. The reason why is this is Platinum Jubilee. Now, again, Platinum Jubilee has everything to do with the Queen of England. The Queen of England will be celebrating her 70th year as queen since the coronation. And this is the longest reigning queen we've had since the current reset. And that's another story. But anywho, the Platinum Jubilee has a big connection here. And I'm going to show you guys this. I might have shown it in the past, but we're just going to bring this full circle for anyone who's new here. So Platinum Jubilee giving us that 55 again. Satoshi Nakamoto giving us that 55. And then we also have Queen Elizabeth giving us that 55. And then we have the important Pluto's return giving us the 55. And Pluto's return will be on the 22nd of February. Again, the 222 date in the 222 year. Absolutely crucial. Last time we had Pluto's return was allegedly July 4th of 1776. Again, the alleged Independence Day. I use the word alleged because everything that we've been taught is a lie in the indoctrination camps we call school. So with that being said, if you resonate with that, well, then you'll resonate with the rest of what my channel shares. Now, this Pluto's return thing is something we'll talk about later in the weeks to come, because it's only the beginning of this month. And again, this will be more effective later into the third, fourth week or so of February. For now, we got to focus on the beginning of this month, and this Platinum Jubilee date that we're getting on the 6th, it could absolutely be something. So that's a key date, because this is such a rare occurrence. And the bigger connection that I've made with Platinum Jubilee, again being the 70th year, and the Queen reigning over 15 Commonwealth realms, the new variant that's been a big psy-up on the world stage since the start of Sagittarius in 2021 was the Omicron variant, this being the 15th Greek letter, and it having the Greek isopsephy value of 70. Again, 70 and 15 directly coming back to Queen Elizabeth through this Platinum Jubilee, 70th anniversary, which would be perceived as 7 without the 0, again happening in the Shemitah year, the 7-year cycle. This is huge, guys. This is so important to be perceiving the numbers this way. And I just showed you all those 55 connections with Queen Elizabeth, Platinum Jubilee, Pluto's return, and Satoshi Nakamoto, and this is all happening in this month, right? These big connections, and anything that ties back to Jupiter ties back to Bitcoin, and I've shown that many times through the 36, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But we have that 36 in full reduction, we have Bitcoin 36 full reduction, so we've made this connection plenty of times. Now, this 2/7 date, the following day, this is something interesting, because the 27 comes back again to Jupiter, Chaldean 27. And the date numerology on this one is giving us 15. Standard date numerology. Again, anytime we're seeing the 15, we know it's coming back to Tiger, right? We've been talking about that, this whole decode. So that 15, again, Tiger being the striped planet, Jupiter, we have a direct connection here between the 2/7 date and the 15 date numerology. Now, this is absolutely interesting. This whole week, it seems to be that we're packed full of important dates. So I'm just going to let you guys know now that I've shared all of this, how I'm interpreting this week. Again, this is more intuitive. This isn't necessarily 100% what's going to happen. I'm just letting you know my feelings based on all of this code. Now, the way that I'm interpreting this week is perhaps we have bullish energy in the market until around the 5th or the 6th of February. So that's an additional 5 days or so from today. Now, the reason behind this not only has to do with the 5-day window around the new moon, but it also has to deal with this particular date of the 5th as a potential like sort of transitory date of energy. And I'll break that down a little deeper. But anyways, this date of the 5th is the 36th day of the year. Remember, I was just showing you this connection with Jupiter and with Bitcoin with the 36 and the same cipher. Well, this is the 36th day of the year. And why this matters is because 36 is perceived as 3 sixes or 666. Again, 666 comes back to carbon, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. It's just the matrix realm. It's the physical realm. So anytime we see the 36, it's coming back to that. And of course, there's other, esoteric examples out there, but that's the basic one that we could kind of start with and, streamline everything. So another thing to mention about this particular date is it gives the standard date numerology of 13. All right. Now this 13 comes back to the death card in tarot, and I'll show you actually how this can even be implemented in the code. So the 13th tarot card, I'll just show you. We're getting the 41, and 41 is the 13th prime number. So this is all coded in, guys. I've shown you guys this so many times. Okay, so 13th tarot card, again, giving you 41, which is the 13th prime number, and that's 41 in Chaldean, so we know that's important. And when we do Death tarot card, again, giving us that 47 coming back to the 15th prime number. We've talked about this whole decode, how important this number 15 is. And this is the Roman numeral for 13. And I know in tarot, major arcana, you tend to use these numerals. Now, like I was just telling you with the 15, well, in English ordinal, we have the 51. So it's the as above, so below, the mirror of the number 15. And then again, full reduction, 13 gives us that 33. It's all about transmutation. Even the 32 vertebrae in the spine, and then the 33rd being the pineal gland. That's another interpretation of the 33. You have the 33rd degree Freemason. 33rd degree is when ice turns to water again. We've made these examples. But again, even this 8 in Chaldean, 8 being the infinity symbol, the toroidal field, the Mobius strip, right? So this connection here is massive. But the 13th card in tarot being the death card, and the death that they're talking about is not the actual mortality death. It's more about transformation, right? So again, it's all part of this more esoteric breakdown. Now, one other connection here about this particular date of the 5th of February is it's 151 days going back to September 7th. 151 is the 36th prime number. So we're on the 36th day of the year, and between the start of Shemitah and this date, you get 151 days, which is the 36th prime. And this 36 not only comes back to Bitcoin in the full reduction cipher, but it comes back to Ethereum as well. All right. And of course, Ethereum, you have that 41 giving you the 13th prime again, which we were talking about a moment ago with the death card in tarot. Now, this is also when we do date numerology the way I like to do it with double digits. We have that 49, and that 49 is 7 times 7 or 77, again, connecting back to Rosh Hashanah, Shemitah, which is the 7-year cycle. So this being the 36th day of the year with the 36th prime connection to the 151 and everything else that I've been explaining, I'm starting to think that this might be the day that we either have the day before we kind of top out, or perhaps the window of this date, which goes into the 6th. And this has everything to do with time zones, like America being a day behind Australia kind of thing, so just perceive time a little bit more open-mindedly when we're going over this code. We're not trying to be so specific. We're just trying to think a little deeper so that we could break down what's possible, right? Because markets will do 3 things. They go up, they go down, they go sideways. It's not really our job to be 100% precise. It's just to be able to utilize this code the best we can open-mindedly to expect volatility. With this volatility expectation, we could be calm and live day to day in this market without getting so caught up when a big move happens, because for weeks, months, in certain scenarios, we've been waiting on these dates anyways. I've been talking about the 2-2 date and the 2-2-2 date pretty much for a half a year now, with an expectation. And again, look at that 222 date giving us the 66, right? Now, this is important. So when we're perceiving these dates, we've been talking about it for so long, and it keeps us calm because we could expect this to be something important, right? So with that being said, quick recap. This 5th date is definitely something I'm keeping my eye on. We have that 49, which is 7 by 7. That has everything to do with the 7s coming back to Shemitah. Then we have the 151, which is the 36 prime number, 36th day of the year. 36 is the 3 6s or the 666. It's the 13 date numerology. I showed that explanation coming back to the death card and tarot. Could be a day of transformation as we move into the following day, which is Platinum Jubilee. And then we have the 27 date coming back to Jupiter in Chaldean, and that 15 date connection coming back to Tiger. And we're still all in that year of the Tiger celebration, leading up to the Lantern Festival, which I believe is on the 15th. Again, funny that it's on the 15th because that has everything to do with this whole decode we've been sharing. So I'll get into that on my next video. But for now, definitely excited to see how tomorrow goes in this market with the 2-2. Again, the 22 master number, master builder, master destroyer, and it being in the Hebrew year reduced down to 22. 33rd day of the year. So Let's get ready for it. I'm ready for pretty much whatever happens at this point. This market's been extremely oversold, and I have been talking about a double bottom scenario sometime moving into the February full moon, which I believe is on the 16th of this month. So that's what we're going to get into now with our analysis. So if you're enjoying this video, definitely go ahead and subscribe if you're new here. Appreciate all of your support. We have this chart right here that I was going over probably last week, and all of these red boxes are our Mercury retrograde. We're seeing that we pretty much got an exact repeat of what happened back in the summertime, where we had a top structure, some sort of crown top, and then this entered a distributionary phase, which had a reaccumulation, which included a time frame of an eclipse followed by another total eclipse, and then we had this Mercury retrograde. So just to show you what's gone on since, we have a distributional top with an all-time high, very similar to back here. Then you have your eclipses. The total eclipse wipes you out. Then you enter a downtrend, build support around Mercury retrograde. Then once you leave Mercury retrograde, we've seen this return back to the lows. So what's interesting here is this support level that has been flipped as a resistance. It's almost identical to what happened back in May and June, right around the time of our last eclipses. So I'm actually perceiving this very similarly, where I wouldn't be surprised if moving into the 3rd or 5th of this month, we push up maybe to 40 to 42K, something like this. 40 to 42K. I don't know if we'll get much higher than that, just because that's the last cluster of support we had, or we could now pretty much call it a potential resistance, because we have this cluster over here around the Rosh Hashanah full moon, and then we have this attempt to hold it as a support back in the early January timeframe, and that broke. And once that broke down, we filled out the level of that CME gap that I talked about in my last video perfectly with a wick, and then bounced since then. So this recovery that we're having, I would not be surprised if into like perhaps the 5th of this month we move up to 41, maybe even 42, and then keel over into the 15th or 16th of the month, sometime around that full moon that's coming in. And then from there we get a double bottom bounce. So you have your first bottom over here, then your secondary bottom over here. This would be timed based on using the lunar cycle and also the prior fractal that we had in here with this whole move, this big dramatic pattern where we had a really oversold sell-off, liquidating a lot of leverage traders, a bull trap to the top to get people trapped in longs, thinking that we were going to break out in a V-shaped recovery. Again, never expect V-shaped recoveries, guys. It is not typically the way it goes. I know it happened back in the C-word crash, but that was a black swan. That was a very particular time. What we've gotten recently structurally looks very similar to this whole corrective phase over here. Even when you're looking at RSI on some top projects, we saw that the market lately has been more oversold than it was back here, especially on a lot of altcoins. But we can't just use RSI as an indicator on a coin that's 100 ranked market cap. That's not the best way to analyze a market. That's why when I'm doing my analysis, I always just stick to Bitcoin, as the predominant market leader. When Bitcoin makes a huge washout, a majority of everything else washes out, and it could get pretty bloody for some speculative sectors. And we've seen this happen with DAOs, for instance, where a lot of these bigger promising DAOs have lost over 95% of their value, and they're barely wanting to bounce from the lows that they're at right now. That's destructive, and that's what happens when you have a market that's ran mostly by retail. And that's what happens when you have 1,000 plus market cap projects. When you have stuff that's ranked in the 1,000, 1,500, or 2,000 based in market cap, you could figure this out on coinmarketcap.com. That's not necessarily a bad thing. When you see high, really low liquidity in a project, it gives you tons of ROI potential, but you really have to be early. You either have to be early or super patient, because the washouts are really, really destructive. So anyways, the structure that we're getting here is actually, there is one other big similarity. We have this Mercury retrograde right here, which entered a downtrend. And as you can see, most of our Mercury retrogrades are actually quite bullish, or they're boring leading to bullish. So we'll just go backwards and I'll show you. This Mercury retrograde right here, we essentially broke out in a straight line. just straight line. Here we were choppy, but it led to an uptrend. That's what I'm personally anticipating, a repeat of this fractal. But anyways, we have this Mercury retrograde straight line breakout, very, very similar to this one. Then we have right here Mercury retrograde breakout, and it led to a continuation also. Quite a beautiful run, the most impressive run for Bitcoin since 2017. And then we have this one right here, kind of sideways boring, which is, could be similar to here, but with just less overall volatility. Again, back here, the volume on Bitcoin, and it was so boring. Even the sentiment was boredom. So then you have this one, which was a downtrend, which actually led to a pretty bloody, disastrous dip. And I don't necessarily think this is to come. Again, anything's possible in the Matrix. A washout like that could happen. And damn, if it was timed accordingly to where it was like 2 days after Mercury retrograde, that would literally be like the 5th or 6th of this month. And that would be on the date that I just told you about, that key date with the 36, the 151 connection, and also that transition date into Platinum Jubilee. So that would be really wicked if this was an exact repeat of that fractal. That would be the least likely opportunity here, just because of, again, like I said, RSI on Bitcoin being extremely oversold, and then Bitcoin has this crazy support down at 29 and 30k. So the expectation for it to break down lower than 29k soon is way less likely than perhaps in like 3 or 4 months from now, sometime in like July. That would make sense. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Point being is that these Mercury retrogrades are definitely an interesting pivot point in the market, if you will. And we know that we have our upcoming full moon. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do have an energy similar to the C word, not crash, but the market structure, where we see that post Mercury retrograde into the full moon, we come down to retest lows, which I also believe was very similar to down here. And I could quickly show you on the moon cycle indicator, we have a full moon right there. So like maybe 3 or 4 trading days, we bottomed out before, it was about 4 days before that full moon. And for us, the 16th going 4 days back, 4 trading days, that's around the 12th. Would be amazing if it was a similar structure where like the 12th or the 13th of February, we had that bottom and then recovery out of the pocket. And this would also be in alignment with bouncing off the outside of this firmament dome. So we did get within it, but since we've actually started an uptrend, and if we zoom in, we could see this very clear. This is a really sustained uptrend for Bitcoin. It's slow, it's low volatility, but it's sustainable. There's no huge green candles or huge red candles. It's just been like, probably a full 10 days going on now. There was this one volatile day, but we know the reason that happened. I was explaining that in videos last week. But with this 8 days straight of just perpetual uptrend, higher highs, higher lows, this is nice to see. Again, still structurally nothing to get excited about until we break 44K. So the point of all this analysis is to just anticipate it's more than likely that we do get a retest to the bottom. Now, I'm not necessarily saying we'll go right down to the wick and fill it like we did back here, because here, if you zoom in, I'll turn off everything to make it a little clearer for everyone. You see that we came down, and then we actually had this wick right here, and then we perfectly filled in that wick. Came down, pretty much double bottomed on and filled in that wick with closure dates. Not just a wick, we actually closed a bunch of candles leading into that full moon. So a similar effect would be like if we stopped at some time like in the next 4 or 5 days and then reversed down and filled out into this 33K area. That would be a perfect W pattern breakout, and we'll probably see some confirmations of bullish divergence in the event that we do even maybe get a slightly lower low. Bitcoin loves to do that shit where it will go to a slightly new low and fake every bear out. I'll show you a good example. Would be right here. This fake out that we got down here where we went even lower in the structure, and then a double fake out where this right here, people were almost certain that we would continue lower. I remember the sentiment. I remember the way that everyone was reacting to this sell-off, this very slow, arduous sell-off of closures on a downtrend, which was a complete bear trap, because look at what it generated. And we were anticipating this on this channel. I was talking about this around this time frame very, very vividly, buying the full moon of July for an anticipation of an uptrend throughout the entire month of August. And that would sort of align with having a similarity between August and the month of March. So March being the true new year, and I've explained this many times, you know, the month of October, Oct is 8, November 9, December, Deci 10, etc. March would be the true start of the year. And with this being said, that would be interesting to start off the month of March with a similar structure like we had back here last year, where you see right around this time frame of March 1st, we did bottom out, but then we went on to make a new all-time high, slight correction, but near the transition into April, all things considered, this was a crazy uptrend buyback for Bitcoin after already generating quite a move from 10K to 42K. For it to make this additional leg up was unlikely. The fact that it did it, an additional 100% in less than 2 calendar months, is super impressive for such a big market cap. And if you guys remember, this was the time frame right here. From that dip to this, that was what really generated the alt season for all the altcoins. That's when Ethereum started doing well. That's when everything started really popping off. So that would be sort of the way that I'm looking at this if I had to break it down without getting so much into MACD and EMAs and all of that. I don't want to look at that at this time. I just want you guys to consider price action and structure, because that's really what's driving this market right now. This market has become quite dramatic from sentiment, and whenever it does that, you kind of want to look at lagging indicators as less important and just pay attention to chart structure. So again, no fireworks until 44K is broken to confirm a reversal. And even then, if we were to break 44K, I would not be surprised if we had a little bit of a slowdown, complete the right shoulder of this potential inverse head and shoulders pattern, and then continuation again into the month of March. So it's really the month of March and that I'm anticipating bullish. And for the next 15 days, I anticipate short term, possibly bullish, and then lead to potential double bottom into the full moon. And then from there, we'll take it and run with it. Could be great trading opportunities too, by the way. So anyone over there that is looking to join the Patreon, we have the Trading Wolves Patreon, which is an upgraded tier. It includes everything that's in the Mastermind community, but then the upgrade of an access to a Discord that is including trading conversation and discussion about how to set up our trades. And we actually do have some setups here. Like, I'm starting to get more excited about trading into the month of February just because the chart has given me some structure. Since we've been dropping down in a straight line, of course it's a short opportunity, but you know that certain people like to play those moves. I just don't like playing the shorter time frames. I like looking at longer term setups. And this type of sell-off, the dramatic sell-off that we've had, it's been an absolutely incredible shorting opportunity. But for me, I'm more in accumulation mode and getting ready for bounces, you know. And if I was to look at this analytically, this is about the time where, you know, we see Bitcoin's RSI dipping below into really extreme levels, below 20 on the daily. And pretty much all of our momentum indicators have absolutely reset. That's really important when you're analyzing the momentum indicators. You want them to sort of reset so that there is room for bullish breakouts. Okay. So with everything said, the monthly close has come in. We're just going to quickly analyze that and go from there. I'm going to turn off everything and just see how this has played itself out. So the monthly close did hold support above this range right here, which we had the closure lows of May. We had the, pretty much the resistance on June, and the July range right there. We were within that, and that is completely fine. Actually closed above the wick of August. That's another good thing to see. When we're looking at the moving averages, if I was to show you what's going on here, turn off the drawings, we have Holding this 21 exponential on the monthly, that's a good thing. Again, the last time we closed below that was back during the C-word crash, and that was quickly bought back up. I mean, if we're looking at this on a monthly candle perspective, off this wick to the following month was a 2x, right? So that was a black swan. We could tell that once we start closing below the 21 exponential on the monthly, that's when we get into like bear market, completely oversold washout territory. So this would be the 2017 all-time high, and this was the first candle we officially closed below that level. But you see what it does? It creates this like cup and handle right here was really classic. This took some time though, by the way. This took a year off of the highs to generate that type of move. So even if we called this the highs, we would be looking at this being exactly around the April timeframe. So I would not be surprised if we're going to move bullish into April, perhaps altcoins even into early May. And then we have, another dramatic sell-off similarly to what we've been anticipating lately, or something like we got back in 2021, this big May candle right here, 35% down. So on the weekly, we are seeing that the important moving averages are all coiled up around 47. Again, if we were to get a breakout above 44, remember what I just told you before, I would anticipate a inverse head and shoulders to play out. So Bitcoin has the left shoulder kind of going on here, the head, then maybe pop up to 45, 46, 47, get a little bit of a short-term rejection, come back down to 40, which is just a psychological level, then we complete the right shoulder and have continuation. So that's how I would be anticipating it. Now we have a 2-day close tonight. This is something important to consider. 2-day could be potentially above that 8 simple moving average, which is the yellow moving average. That would be the first time closing above that since back here. Again, kind of a fake out level, so nothing to get super excited about. And you could see a majority of these moving averages are coiling up in the 40K territory. So getting above the 21 exponential would be textbook for like bullish continuation. And we have not been above the 20 since going back to November, pretty much a week before the all-time high. So until we're above that orange moving average, the 21, which you could see is at 42K, nothing really to get super excited about. Closing 2 days above the 21 would be really nice for bullish reversal. Now you can see the 3-day is showing us something important. These 200 moving averages are playing a very nice support level. So we have the 200 simple, 200 exponential. Those are holding really nice. The last time we saw those tested was actually back during like 2019. So Bitcoin has been really arduous in this $40,000 territory. Between 30 and 50K, Bitcoin's been living in for quite a while. And anytime it has dramatic swings up into the high 50s, we see what it does to altcoins. Every time it breaks below 40, we see what it does to altcoins. It creates like 80% washouts. So we still have proven over time that Bitcoin is the energy of the market. I mean, it's undeniable. So with this being said, holding support here, this is also going to allow holding support for altcoins. And getting above that 8 would be the first step, but really, it's that 21. And again, that 21 coming in at around 44K, which is the high in the structure that we need to break for a bullish continuation reversal. So 3-day closing tomorrow. I don't anticipate us to move up that much between now and then. Like I told you, I'm more looking in the immediate short term for something like 40 to 41K top most between now and February 5th. I would be really surprised to see Bitcoin go above 42K in this stage of the month. After the full moon of February, yes, I would anticipate post full moon, maybe even into the February close, we have a 44K plus Bitcoin that transitioning into March. That would not be weird. That'd be very structurally similar to what happened over here. And you see these 3-day candles that kicked in for Bitcoin. Just to show you really quickly. So we have our high, we have a big sell-off, and then we based out in this level for quite a while. But once Bitcoin turned bullish, look at this, 13% 3-day candle, 10% 3-day candle, 7% 3-day candle. So off that pocket, Bitcoin gained 37% in 6 days. All right. So that would be similar to if we return back to this 200 simple moving average, if we were to come back down on the 15th and then go over 6 days, 36%. That would be like Bitcoin coming back into like the high 40s, which would be right in line with that 55 simple moving average. And that would make a ton of sense. That's a key level. within a key level at least, most of the time, you always want to look at that 55 simple. You could see over here when we got up above this, we actually back tested and played around on that 55 before creating a new all-time high. It doesn't need to be a perfect level because we're in crypto and crypto is highly volatile. So you always need to expect it to be a little bit more dramatic than like if you were looking at a stock or a Forex, for instance. So the analysis in the short term, perhaps bullish for the first, next 4 or 5 days, but I do still anticipate returns down to the lows of 33, 34K, maybe even a really bullish 35K backtest, and it holds that 35, 36K level. Still, all in all, we should get some bearish energy in the full moon timeframe of February. I know we're like 2 weeks out, but I'm just trying to ingrain that in everyone's minds through this video so that we could have an expectation that we might be bearish again. And remember, if Bitcoin goes bearish for any movement at this point of the run, if it will move Ethereum down, for instance, to 2,400, and during that move for Ethereum, you're going to see some other altcoins that are lower market cap drown out even more. They might even make microcycle lows. So that's why I'm talking this way. I just want to get people ready. For now, it's beautiful to see bullish energy, but I still don't anticipate V-shaped recoveries. That's not in my mind right now. So the Ethereum analysis really quickly, we'll look at this monthly, completely fine, pretty much almost within the 13 exponential. That's fine after back testing the 21. That was a really nice bounce level, so that looks pretty good to me. Nothing to really say bad here. Now, the weekly, we could see all these moving averages coiling up around 33. Again, 33 is an important number for Ethereum because ETH gives us 33, the ticker symbol. We also got the 15 in the full reduction, which comes back to the breakdown that we were doing earlier with Gematria. But anyways, this 55 simple would probably be a short-term rejection point. But a majority of everything that is important, these key moving averages coming in around 3,300, this would be similar to Bitcoin coming back to 4,400. So just keep that in mind. If Bitcoin goes to 44,000, you could anticipate ETH to get to around 3,300. 44, 33, nice and easy. And that's all proven with these key moving averages on the weekly. So then we have our 2-day close coming in. 2-day would be great to get above these 200s. We are trading below them, so that's very exaggerated. And that the last time we did that, guys, was literally the C-word crash. So you could tell this was a very dramatic sell-off for ETH. Very key level for a sell-off too, because it came within the 236 fib. So that's, again, another really important thing to see. Coming back to the 236 with a really nice bounce. I mean, this is a dramatic recovery. Talking about 20% off the pocket. Excuse me 1 second while I clear my voice. You could tell it's that stage of the video where it's been going on long enough. So with this being said, again, we do have the Bitcoin energy. If Bitcoin's bullish, this is going to be bullish for ETH. If Bitcoin gets to around 40K, I would anticipate we might see a 3,000 XRP. Even this 0.5 fib would be a key level to see before a slight return back to the downside. And ETH tends to be stronger out of most of the altcoins, so we could see something similar to this. Maybe push up into the 0.5 fib, come back to retest the 382, maybe even a little bit deeper, but then have a recovery like that, something like this where it's not as dramatic. But if Bitcoin really wants to turn back down to like 33K, we will probably see this return down to 2,400 or even lower. And then that'll be the recovery bounce. So again, you always want to consider the Bitcoin energy as part of this. And the full moons play out for ETH just as well. It's not isolated to just Bitcoin. ETH will follow that full moon and new moon pattern, as we're seeing today being the new moon, and Ethereum is up a lot. So daily close, again, I would just be looking at this 21 exponential, which we've gotten rejected on today. If we see a closure above that 21, that's a good sign of recovery for Ethereum. And more importantly, though, it's this 0.5 fib. So if we could get above that 34, that would be ultra, important. But I still do anticipate rejections in the short term and returns back to the downside. Some structure like this. So I'll turn off everything and I'll show you what I mean. You see this big W over here? This is kind of like what I would anticipate. We're in this recovery stage right here, right there. That tops out and then comes back down. I don't know if it'll be as dramatic, considering this was like a blow off top for Ethereum, and this has been more of like a distributional kind of slow, arduous downtrend with a big washout. But this was short and sweet, and this W, of course, was more dramatic because of that. When you have a dramatic sell-off, you have a dramatic reaction. And this has been way less dramatic for ETH. Only lately, since this break of support at 3,000, it's been washed out. Isn't it funny how the support at 3,000 is the same for Bitcoin at 40K? And how I'm telling you that the 3,300 area would be the same as the 44,000 area for Bitcoin. It's pretty much identical in that regard. It's funny how this price works, how like it's all ran by an algorithmic code. So again, following the Bitcoin analysis, just anticipate a similar move. Now, XRP, I don't think I covered in my last analysis, so it'll be nice to look into today. I'm going to look at the monthly close. This monthly is completely fine. We pretty much just came back to backtest the prior fake out breakout that we got around the Flare Network launch. So you guys remember we had Flare Network followed by the SEC, the SEC dump, which again was 66% losses on the monthly close. It's so classic how that is all just coded in. So we're just backtesting those levels, and again, similar support to back here. And this is the way that XRP likes to move. It's a very dramatic coin in that regard. So this monthly close wasn't horrible. It would be horrible if we started closing below this key level right here, like 56 cents on the monthly close. So let's look at the weekly. The weekly, again, holding support perfectly at the lows going back to the summertime. So again, this is very similar to the resistance levels around the Flare Network and this like Wall Street bets pump fake move over here. So prior resistance is seemingly flipping as a new support, again, with one touch and two touch on weekly closures. So this is a macro analysis. This isn't a short term. This is very nice to see. And this could be a general big double bottom for XRP. And I'm anticipating XRP to enter an alt season in the regards to Bitcoin getting above 50K. XRP is yet to have an alt season. It's yet to have a dominant shift. And this is something we can anticipate for XRP, is some sort of dominant shift to end off the bull run. And there are a lot of suppressed coins since all of this last year. And XRP is one of them based on gains from the C-word crash lows is what I'm talking about. So this is coiling up in a huge sideways consolidation pattern. This was a buying climax in Wyckoff, selling climax, automatic rally, and now we're moving into the double bottom area. Potentially, you could call it like a spring, and you'll only know based off the recovery. Now, the recovery level, you want to get above $1. So whatever your highs are in the structure, $1.02, until we get over there, no parties. That would also be corresponding with a huge support level. And again, you would want to break that so that support doesn't become a new resistance. So technically, it's really important to consider that. So anywho, I'm looking at Bitcoin's recovery potentially into the next 5 or so days. This could generate a move for XRP into the next level of liquidity, which would be around potentially 71 cents. This, if we were to consider this bearish retrace, which I have pulled down from the low right here up to the swing high. If I was to turn off my moving averages, you'd see what I'm talking about. So I have a bearish retrace pulled from the breakout level to swing high. So it's done in reverse, showing that the 888 fib was the textbook area to come back test. Now the next level for potential gravitational pull for XRP would be the 786, and that would be 71 cents. And that wouldn't be surprising if we had a 40 or 41K Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's 39K right now, so that's like a sneeze away. And if Bitcoin wanted to rotate out of that level, it would, of course, potentially give some liquidity over to the other top 50 or so altcoins, XRP being one of them. And then at that level of 68 to 70 cents, I would anticipate rollover, depending on how Bitcoin reacts to the next full moon. So I'm going to leave it at that. Plenty of analysis, super long video. Hope to plan on 2 videos this week, but this one again was comprehensive enough for everyone to watch a couple times. Again, I will be sharing a new update on Patreon probably later today. So anyone looking to join the Patreon Mastermind community, it's over at patreon.com/watersabove, and you'll be able to get access to all of the information that I shared earlier in the video. The last Red Pill podcast, number 44, which was released a couple days ago, went over a bunch of altcoins in that one. So you'll also get access to our Discord group chat and all of the other features. And I appreciate everyone's support. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.